You are listening to the Happiest Lives podcast with Jill Lillard, episode number 60.
Welcome to the Happiest Lives podcast, where you'll learn to think better, feel better, and become the woman God says you already are. Here's your host, Jill Lillard.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Happiest Lives podcast. We've been talking about how to make everyday life productive and fun so you can honor your values and not lose the point of it all along the way. We want to be able to take joy in the journey. Think about someone going on a vacation and they really want to have a good time. And so they're trying to plan all the things. So sometimes when people vacation, they get stressed about making sure they're having a good time and they are no longer relaxing and having fun. Maybe they're worried, is everybody having a good time? Are we going to see everything? Are we going to miss out on something? And if you're in that mode where you're even taking all the pictures and posting them on social media, are you even in that zone of relaxing and enjoying yourself? Are you having a good time? You might also do this in your everyday life, trying to check all the boxes, worrying about if everybody else is happy, trying to complete the project, that you get so caught up in the productivity that you forget to enjoy yourself. You lose your good nature. Are you enjoying it? If we get so caught up in being ambitious or trying to produce certain results that we lose our sense of humor and we're no longer having a good time, then we might as well give that up. So last week we talked about routines, why they are essential. And not only are routines essential, we all have routines in our life. We just may not be aware of what they are. We may not have chosen those routines. We may have felt like we just stumbled into those. We're not aware that we are picking our routines. So you did choose them, but maybe you weren't conscious about what you were choosing. And so I talked about establishing effective routines and how to do that, as well as some of the challenges you might face when you establish routines. And then I walked you through some of my routines. So today we're going to build on the topic of routines and talk about various techniques you can use to get things done. I like to think there is plan A and there's plans B through Z. Now, plan A is always relying on the Spirit. I think God wants us to do things in spirit and in truth. So he wants us to use our mind, but he also leads us by his Spirit. And so we want to constantly be engaging with the Lord, seeing our walk in this life as a journey with him. We can make plans, but it is the Lord's plans that will prevail. Now, does this mean we shouldn't plan? Certainly not. Should we not save money and think about retirement? Should we not worry about setting the alarm clock to get up and go to work tomorrow morning? No, I don't think that is the point. We're not going to just say the Spirit's going to lead us in all the things, and so we make no efforts. I think the Lord leads us and he also requires our participation. And so there are things that he has given us to do, and part of your daily life, the Lord can work in those obligations. He can work in the structure of daily life. Other times he may lead you in some mysterious way. But the point I want to make is we can be mathematical, we can be creative and scientific in our planning, and we want to be led by the Spirit. So having a balance of planning and strategy and also leaning into the Spirit, I think is very important. We want to be consistent with different plans that we make, with different routines we put in place, but we don't want to become legalistic or robotic. We don't want to miss the point of the whole thing. So when I refer to plan A is simply living life by the Spirit, letting the Lord lead and direct you. And so I think we always want to implement plan A. Plan A can be interwoven through plans B through Z. Plans B through Z are just all the other strategies, techniques, and agendas you might put in place to carry out the things that you believe God is calling you to do. I want to just give you a way to approach different things that you need to get done. If we're trying to increase our productivity, if we're trying to be more effective in our time management, and we're trying to make those things meaningful, that they are aligning with what is important to us, we might find it helpful to ask questions such as, how can I make this more interesting? How can I utilize my time in the best way possible? How can I enjoy the process? Whatever realm it is that you want to increase your productivity, I'm going to give you some different techniques that I think you can use to make things a little bit more interesting. And so the first one is the chore lottery. So I don't even know when I came up with the chore lottery. I know that I used the chore lottery when we got married because I have some specific memories of my husband, of introducing him to the chore lottery and inviting him to participate in it as we approached household chores. What we would do is make a list of all the things that needed to be done, and you could rip them up into little strips of paper. I think that's how I always used to do it. And then you would draw one out. Nowadays, I just write down the list, number them, and then I'll ask Alexa to pick a number between 1 and 12, and she will tell me what to do. But this works really great if you have a list of mundane chores and tasks, and there's no order of priority. This is also really good if you just have one of those days that you're just not very motivated, you're not inspired, and you don't feel like making any decisions, and it really doesn't matter which one you do first. Things that you might put on the list in the chore lottery are things like emails, phone calls, errands, clean the bathrooms, clean the floors. So clean the floors could include sweeping the floor, vacuuming the floor, anything to do with the floors. Countertops, that would include countertops in the bathroom, countertops in the kitchen, tables, end tables, all of those things. Papers may be on the list. If you ever have piles of papers that stack up that maybe you need to organize, file away, put away. Laundry might be on the list. Food prep, making a grocery list, making a meal plan, exercise, taking a shower. And you can include some fun things on there. If you have a list of chores to do and none of it sounds fun, you could put things like bake cookies if that's something that you like to do, read a book, whatever that is. And so I used to also do this with my kids. We would put some things on there that would be interesting to them. If I grabbed something like clean the counters, I could include them in that. But then there might be some fun things like sit down and read books together would be interesting for them as well. With the chore lottery, you make your list, you number them or rip them into strips of paper, and then you just draw one. And you commit whatever you draw, you're just going to do it. You're not going to think about it. You're not going to negotiate. You just get it done. Another method for getting things done is the Pomodoro method. So for the Pomodoro technique, you would work for a set period of time. So you might set the timer for 25 minutes and be really focused. And then when the timer goes off, you can take a short break, whether that's just standing up and stretching, getting up and getting a cup of water. And then you would start the timer over. And you could take longer breaks after several work intervals. And this method is going to help you stay focused and prevent burnout. Another method is the Eisenhower matrix. And this is where you do 4 quadrants. And so one of them would be the urgent and then the important. And then you would see how those match up in the quadrants. And so those that match up as both urgent and important, you're going to do those first. The ones that are important but not urgent, you will schedule a time of when you're going to do those tasks. If they're urgent but not important, then maybe you would delegate those to somebody else. And if it's neither urgent nor important, then that might just be something that you're going to take off your list. You're just not going to do it. You could also, instead of doing the urgent and important for the quadrants, you could do how much effort it takes and the outcome it's going to produce. Is this going to produce a great outcome for you? And then what kind of effort it's going to take. And so you can eliminate those things that are going to take a lot of effort and have a little outcome. Another method is the Ivy Lee method. At the end of each day, write down the 6 most important tasks to accomplish the next day. And then you're going to prioritize these tasks in order of importance. And the next day, focus solely on completing them before moving on to other tasks. You may have heard of the Eat the Frog method, which is popularized by Brian Tracy. And this method involves tackling your most challenging or unpleasant task first thing in the morning. And that's going to help set a positive tone for the rest of the day and prevent procrastination. Another technique you can use is the 2-minute rule. Instead of putting a lot of little things on the list that are only going to take 2 minutes to do, just get them done. This method is going to help prevent small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. Another method you can use is batch processing and time blocking. Batch processing is where you group similar tasks together and you tackle them all at once. For example, you would dedicate a specific time each day to responding to emails, making phone calls, or handling administrative tasks. This method reduces the context switching, going back and forth from one task to another, and it increases your efficiency. Time blocking is where you allow specific blocks of time for different tasks or activities throughout your day. This method is going to help create structure, minimize multitasking, and ensure important tasks receive dedicated focus. So if you have a specific time each day when you know you're going to respond to your emails, make phone calls, or handle other administrative tasks, you can not worry about those things throughout the day. You won't be interrupting something else you're doing to check your email and respond to an email. You could assign a certain portion of your day where you have the most energy, when it's most easy for you to focus. So you might have a 2-hour time block where you can get in the flow and work on those tasks that are going to require more focus. And the last strategy is the Seinfeld strategy from the book, Don't Break the Chain. This is where you set a goal to perform a specific task every day, and then you're going to mark the day on your calendar when you complete it. So over time, you'll create a chain of consecutive days, motivating you to maintain consistency and build momentum. I like to do this with my workouts. I have a calendar that is dedicated solely to that. And each day I'll write down how long I walked, how long I did weight training, how long I did Pilates, and then I can highlight those. So I'll actually write those down on the calendar at the beginning of the month of what my plan is. And then as I do them, I might adjust the time. If I worked out more than I had planned, I'll adjust that time and then I'll highlight it that it was actually completed. And so then it feels really motivating, inspiring to look at this calendar that has all these yellow highlighted spots, or you can do check marks, whatever works for you. Now, my very favorite method for getting things done, I teach it to you inside Clarity and Courage. So if you have a project that you want to complete, maybe it's cleaning out your garage, maybe you're planning a big party, maybe you're having a dinner party for 8 people and that gets a little overwhelming to you and you start spinning your wheels and you don't know what to do or how to do it. Maybe you have some dream, some idea, a vision of something that you want to complete and you just don't know where to start, then you would benefit from this course. This way of approaching it is going to help reduce overwhelm. It's going to help you calmly approach the project in a way that is interesting and fun. So with Clarity and Courage, each month you get coaching calls. You get coaching calls with me and you get new worksheets, application exercises, so you can apply the concepts that we're learning on the podcast. And then you get a phone call, a Zoom call with other women, which we call the worksheet workshop, that you can discuss those worksheets. So you get coaching and you also get the worksheet workshop and you get tools each month. We also have a whole library of other courses that existed before we even had the podcast. And so one of the concepts in there was when we spent a whole month learning how to get things done. And so I lay out an entire process for you, which incorporates some of the tools that I shared with you today, but we streamline it into one process where you start with making the list of everything you need to do and then actually throwing the list away because you have done the time blocking and the prioritizing and you've considered different obstacles and turned those into strategies. I give you that whole process inside Clarity and Courage. And we actually walk an individual through applying these concepts so you can see how that actually works. So if you want to do more of this work on increasing your productivity and having fun along the way, I encourage you to join Clarity and Courage, where you could do the coaching this month and get the new tools, but you could also visit this course that we have available to you. In conclusion, these productivity methods are going to offer unique approaches to managing your tasks, organizing your priorities, and optimizing workflow. In review, they are the Chore Lottery, which is good for the mundane chores and you don't have to make a lot of decisions. There's also the Pomodoro method, which is going to help you maintain focus and prevent burnout as you get really focused for short periods of time, take a little break, then get back at it. The Eisenhower method, which is going to help you prioritize tasks that are most urgent and most important. The Ivy Lee method, which helps you look at the most important tasks you want to accomplish the night before, and then you can prioritize those tasks in order of importance for the next day. The Eat the Frog method, which is going to help you tackle your most challenging or unpleasant tasks first thing in the morning, and that is going to set a positive tone for the rest of your day. The 2-minute rule, if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now, get it done, don't put it on a list. Time blocking and batch processing is where you're going to group similar tasks together and tackle them at once. And you may block stuff into times when you want to be really focused and maybe a dedicated time to do more administrative tasks. And lastly, the Seinfeld strategy, where you're going to use a calendar to motivate and inspire you as you get a visual of what you have accomplished. And so I want to encourage you to experiment with different techniques and find ones that work for you. Which one are you going to try? Which one of these sounds interesting to you? I would encourage you to pick one and apply that to your life. And so as we are talking about making everyday life productive and fun all month, make sure that you are inviting the Holy Spirit into the process of your life, that you are making plans, finding ways to be productive, but you're also being led by the Spirit. If you want to apply any of this work to your life, I am here to coach you and to give you worksheets that are going to help you apply the concepts that we're doing inside Clarity and Courage. So I hope you can join me in that coaching group. Next week on the podcast, we are going to wrap up this series and we are going to talk about work hard, play hard. We're going to talk about play, having fun, being able to relax, which is super duper important. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day and I will talk to you then. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would love to help you take this concept and apply it. Join me in Clarity and Courage, my cost-effective coaching program for Christian women. Each month, receive the tools you need to apply the concepts and grow. We will meet on a live coaching call where you can ask me anything. Plus, you get access to the worksheet workshop where you can have conversations with other women just like you. Learn more and sign up at myhappyvault.com/Clarity and Courage.